Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, Tommy. Welcome, Ed. I would like to welcome all of you to today's webinar with Vanguard Benefits, talking about how your organization can become a Hall of Fame employer. We are going to be starting in just a minute. I would like to ask everybody to introduce yourselves via chat. You can put your name, title, organization, and if you'd like another, I always encourage everybody to include their LinkedIn account link. And I am Allison LaFerlita, the Executive Director for the Nonprofit Resource Hub. For those of you that have not yet joined as a nonprofit partner, I would like to encourage you to do so. We will put the link in the chat. It is free for a nonprofit to join, and you are able to take advantage of really great resources like today's webinar and templates and in-person events and different types of advocacy that we do on behalf of you and the sector. So please go ahead and join. There is no charge, once again, to become a nonprofit partner. And after our meeting today, if you'd like to connect with Tommy or Ed, you are welcome to put that in the chat. They will also provide you with their contact information, and you're always welcome to reach out to us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Ed Probst and Tommy DiMisa. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ed Probst. I'm one of the founding partners at Vanguard Benefits, and my other partner and colleague is with us here today is Tommy DiMisa, our PEO specialist and Director of Strategic Connections. So I want to make this as informal as possible and talk about what we've experienced over the years. And kind of give you a lens into the employers that we work with over the past 25 years and what they've done to create culture in their workplace. We'll monitor the chat. If anyone has any questions throughout, please, we encourage you. Like I said, we'd like to keep this as interactive as possible. So please type any questions you have in the chat. I do think we have the ability to verbalize some questions if we want along the way as well, and we'll try and do that if you want to use the hand raise function. We have some polls that we'll utilize as well. So when we get to the polls, we'd love to hear your feedback in response to that. And then at the end we'll do a formal Q&A to get any of your questions answered that we haven't covered already. So without further ado, I'll move on. So as we talked about, we're going to be talking about today how to become a Hall of Fame employer and what is a Hall of Fame employer. Employers that are Hall of Fame employers in our eyes are those that are employers of excellence. They don't play the game, they change the game. And they're basically what they are is employers of choice. And employers of choice are those employers that they attract top talent easily. Employees want to work with them because they feel valued, and they're not chasing resumes. Resumes are chasing them. So they're definitely employers that have invested in their culture and have set themselves up to be in a position where they are desirable for candidates and recruits. And how they do that is they prioritize the employee's well-being. They recognize the employee as a whole. And they actually recognize them as to design the work around the people rather than designing the people around their work. So they're trying to invest in lifestyles of the employees, which we'll talk more about as we go on through the presentation. They design their benefit strategy around the employee's lifestyle. So they work around their people, and they put people first, and they invest in culture, benefits, and growth. They see benefits as a strategy, not as an expense. So when they're designing their benefit packages, they're designing them in a fashion that helps them recruit easily, and they view it as a tool that can help them recruit, and not just something that's an additional line item for them. And they view it as something that drives loyalty, productivity, and retention. So the belief is if they put people first, the business, or in this case, the nonprofit organization, wins long term. So why does this matter? Why is this all important to an organization? Replacing, just a couple of stats, replacing a single employee can cost up on the upwards of 50 to 150% of their annual salary. So there's real money behind this, behind recruiting employees and retaining them long term. Organizations with engaged employees have 21% higher productivity. So employers that get this, they look at this as a tool that helps them improve culture and morale. When people feel valued, when they feel energized about coming to work every day, the engagement level goes up. It supports their mission more, and they're more engaged in the workplace. They have better recruiting and retention. So when your employees are feeling their best, when you're having a workforce that's engaged, they become your best recruiting tool. And so they assist in the retention end of it, assists in the recruiting end of it. And then there's higher productivity, happier employees, they perform better in the workplace. When stress is down, productivity is higher. And investing in well-being becomes a performance strategy again, and not as an expense. So we have first poll question. So the first poll question we can put up now. So what's your biggest HR challenge today? What's your biggest challenge? Is it recruiting? Is it retention? Or is it healthcare costs? Yeah. So look, thank you for your feedback. That's great feedback, and it is amazing that it's equal like that. I would say not surprising, because those are the three biggest issues that we hear mostly with employers. So depending on employer, one could be more impactful than the other, but they're both extremely important to the business the model for any nonprofit. All right, so let's talk about how we can get there and what you should be focused on when talking about being an employer of choice. And if we've learned anything over the past 5 years, it's that flexibility isn't a perk anymore. It's a requirement. It's in order to be competitive in the workforce, and with nonprofits competing for talent against the public sector, among for-profit businesses, I think that this becomes more vital, and we're seeing that it's a necessary component to any strategy. So what does that entail? So remote employees, right? So there is definitely an opportunity for employers now through remote work. The remote workforce has increased significantly over the years. There's more opportunity that we're seeing for organizations that can adapt to this, to hire outside their geographic location, maybe giving them a bigger talent pool to draw from. So if you look at that as an opportunity, and you have trust in some of the employees that you're hiring, it could bring a lot of value to your organization. We have hybrid work schedules, which have become an important part of any benefit package. And with the hybrid work schedules, it's important that you set expectations. There's opportunity there, and it's important that with that hybrid work schedule, there's a collaboration and an even and an even playing field between the in-person work or the work that's at home. So if there's collaboration between the two, and you're checking in with your employees regularly, hybrid work schedules are something that can be valuable to the organization and to the employees, as is flexible work schedules. Flexible work schedules can be very valuable in supporting lifestyles. Many employees have other things going on in their lives, whether that be attending children's games, or attending for other family members or parents and things like that. And there's different needs for each employee. So having flexible working arrangements gives you the ability to dial in on employees' actual needs and their lifestyle. An array of benefit options. So it's important, as you're designing your core benefits package, to have a lot of choice. So employees, especially younger employees right now, are looking for options that fit their lifestyle and their needs. And the needs are very different depending on several factors. It could be their demographic, in their age or their lifestyle, but there's varying needs. So it's important to design a benefit package that's customizable to fit their stage of life and give them choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ed, just kind of add on there, I'm thinking about one particular client specifically that has employees around the country, and it's a professional services agency. And, historically, prior to the last 4 or 5 years, you didn't see as much of that, but I know we're seeing a lot more of that now, where folks may never actually come to a physical office or not to a local headquarters. There's definitely a sea change there, and as it relates to what I would call the focus on productivity versus just kind of being there at the place doing the thing, but that productivity piece. And if now it doesn't work in every sort of business, it doesn't work in every sort of role inside of a business. Many organizations aren't able to do that. But for those who are, when we talk about employer choice, we're talking about culture. We're talking about what changes the culture of an organization and really feeding into everything you're talking about to elevating the experience for staff is really been a game changer. And that's what I think you and I see a lot in the groups we work with.
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. I think that's a great point. As I said, there is definitely an opportunity, but the thing that needs to be there is there may have to be a mindset shift in some for some organizations, right? Because there's got to be trust that's embedded in this within these employees, right? So if you're going to give more autonomy for flexible schedules, for hybrid work schedules, or flexible PTO, all of that are great benefits for employees, and they're going to require some trust and some autonomy on behalf of the employer. But they can be very valuable. So I think the important thing here is to assess the needs, right? What are your employees' needs? What are they looking for? And when it comes to these areas, and B, how are you going to measure results and the productivity that Tommy's talking about? And I think once you can combine on those, I think that program could be one that's very successful and lead to higher productivity in your workforce. But there's got to be some components of measure there, so that way you're feeling good about it as you're feeling as good about it as the employee on the other end is feeling. Just we have a stat up here: 80% of employees say they would be more loyal to an employer if offered flexible work benefits. And I think that I would love to hear if anybody has an example of that. But I think that you're seeing that employees that are working for employers that feel trusted, needed, and feel like they can have some autonomy and be part of the mission. I think that those would be more loyal to an employer long term. All right, so what's the second step of this? Well, let's talk about building a strong benefits foundation. 78% of employees say they're more likely to stay with a company that offers a strong benefits package. I think that is probably a true number. I think that most employees now, they're looking to employers for their benefits, but in a different way. I think that the benefits packages are way more diverse nowadays. There was a day where you just went to work for an employer if you got a good health insurance and a 401k. And now I think that is still the case, that you want those things, but there's so much more that is added in there that employees are looking for, and that again overlaps on multiple generational workforces, and so what might be good for some might not be great for others. You might have younger employees that are looking for things like pet insurance, mental health, and tuition reimbursement. You might have older employees that are looking for retirement or long-term care, or you may have parents in your workforce that are looking for flexible work arrangements so they can care for their kids, or maybe even child care or dependent care reimbursement accounts that can help them with those needs. So it's important that as you're designing your benefit package, you are looking into your employee base and looking at what, who is really benefiting from the services that we're providing, and are we, checking the boxes for that diverse population. You want to get creative. we find that too many, and especially in this environment, and the big ticket item is always health insurance. Health insurance is a big driver of the conversation, and it's the highest cost benefit. And so that creates situations where it makes it difficult on organizations to create and create affordable and competitive benefit packages, but yet it's so vital to the organization's recruiting strategy that you need to get creative. So for organizations that are looking at this, you should be looking at things like PEO, professional employer organizations, organizations like PEOs that can not only help you with driving down benefit costs and offering more benefits than you might have, especially if you're a small employer, but could also put you in a situation that helps you from an HR standpoint be more compliant and give more access to the employees to HR solutions and tools. Self-funded strategies, if you're large enough, becoming self-funded could give a tremendous opportunity to drive down costs, but short term, and then stabilize costs long term. So that's something you should consider. And then FSAs, HSAs, health savings accounts, or even HRA, creative HRA strategies. One thing that we've done a lot of lately when it comes to health insurance is be able to pair high deductible plans with health reimbursement arrangements that give the ability to drive down costs, but then also provide benefits that are stronger to employees by providing reimbursements for their services that they utilize at no cost. So you got to get creative, think out of the box, not only from a cost perspective on medical and services, but what other benefits can you provide that will that the employees will view as something that's necessary and needed to them. And that could be voluntary benefits, which means they pay for them, but you're offering them and they're getting a lot of value out of that.
And we got a couple questions coming in, so I want to
Sure.
when you want to take a break now. So let me read this one here. Are you seeing differences in the importance of benefits and flexibility between different generations? I mean, when we talk about this, there's 5 different generations in the workforce. I know you've done some work on this over the years. And I think this is a separate question. So let's go with that one right now. Generational differences, I guess, what people are looking for and what people are asking for. Obviously, I know mental health is always big, but
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Tom. I think that, if I was going to put my finger on one thing right now, I think we touched on a little bit that, yes, we are definitely seeing a generational change in what benefits are valued most. I think especially for the younger generations, the Gen Zs, the millennials, their mental health has become something that is very important to that generation. And I think that from a perspective of we're looking at a stigma that has been associated with mental health for a very long time that we're very pleased with the fact that stigma is now starting to lift somewhat. I think that the younger generation gets that, and they look to their employers for mental health services. They're not trying to hide that at all. I think they view that as a very, very vital part to their overall healthcare needs. So, they look at it as I have a primary care physician, I have a specialist, I have a mental health provider, and that's just part of their healthcare journey and process. And we've seen this because we have experience. One of the things we've been doing for many years is one-on-one education for our clients. So we've had the opportunity to interview with many different diverse generational ages for employee one-on-one meetings and heard a lot of these. And I will tell you by far as over the years, and especially in recent years, I will say that the thing that I hear the most is mental health support and what type of benefits are available for mental health to support their lifestyle.
Yeah, that's just great feedback, and it's so important that we talk about ending those stigmas. And I want to go into another question here. So we know we work with a lot of nonprofit organizations at Vanguard Benefits, and certainly with the Nonprofit Resource Hub. And this question says, our nonprofit can't always compete on salary. What's one thing we can do right now to make people feel more valued and connected to the mission? That's a great question.
Yeah, I think everything we're talking about right now. If you're talking about, I think I missed, it was hard to hear the beginning of the question, but I think it
Sure.
said, I
Yeah,
think
I'll
I
go.
got it. It said something like that their nonprofits aren't able to compete salary wise, but so benefits are important, and what are the things they can provide right now that can support
Yeah,
that.
what can they provide right now, and also how can they feel more connected to the mission? Specifically, we're talking to a nonprofit leader here.
Yeah. So I think, a lot of what we talked about before, designing your package to have them more engaged. You want some of the things we're going to talk about, I think, as these slides go on, are going to touch on this and as well. But communicating the benefit package to your employees, having them have a say in what their benefits are, right? So if you're surveying your employees and finding out what are they utilizing now, right? And what do they like best about what they have right now, and what would they like to see? That's going to help you design this package to be more engaging and more utilized. And when the employees utilize it, when they understand it better, I think that that whole support of the mission goes up. But the other thing is, aside from the education, how are you communicating this to the employees, right? And how are you showing and what the mission is, and tying that to the benefit package is important, right? So whether that be volunteer opportunities, or that be certain benefits that support their lifestyle, I think all of that it goes a long way to if they feel engaged, if they feel supported and valued in the workplace by this benefit package, then I think that they're going to be more sold out to the mission. So I think that connectivity from that alone, and again, as we said, whether that be flexible work schedules, whether that be allowing them the autonomy to work from home, allowing them the ability to have hybrid work schedules so that they can meet their family needs. I think a lot of that goes a long way to them, supporting the mission, especially if you're in an environment where you cannot or have a hard time competing with salaries from other organizations.
So there's a few more questions, but I think you're going to get to some of this in your upcoming slides. But I just want to hit on that one piece about being more connected to the mission. I've seen nonprofit organizations who have rank and file frontline employees that are involved in or get invited from time to time to board meetings, get invited to meet with different donors and supporters of the organization, different stakeholders. And when we talk about being connected to the mission, I think, seeing different parts of the work that your organization is doing. It's kind of a funny story. It reminds me of that story where somebody was walking through the halls of NASA, and there was a man mopping the floor. And, when he thought about what his job was, he said, I'm helping us get to the moon. He wasn't thinking I'm here mopping the floor. So, when you become really, and you realize that we're part of a much larger whole, especially in the nonprofit sector, I think it makes a lot of difference there. So we have some more slides to go through, so we'll probably answer some of these other questions.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to get to our second poll question. It's right on cue. So the second poll question is, do you have a good understanding of what benefits your employees need or what they're looking for? Right? Okay.
That's great.
100% feel that they have a good understanding of what benefits their employees need. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That is not what we see all that often in the marketplace. So you must be surveying your employees. You must be doing a good job of understanding what they value, and that's critical to this whole discussion, because what they're saying matters. Right. So 69% of managers say they're uncomfortable communicating with their employees, right? Yet 190% of employees say communication directly impacts their morale, right? So creating that culture of communication is very important. And, communication builds trust, it builds connection, it builds engagement. I think, we can probably all think of a time where we worked for someone or with someone and didn't know what they were thinking, and didn't understand, didn't have their job description clearly communicated. They didn't have their expectations clearly communicated, that causes stress in the workplace. So I think having that open door leadership policy, where you're accessible, approachable, and you listen to your employees. We work with some experts in the industry on stress mastery and mental health. And one of the things they do is working with leadership teams and management teams to help them understand what to look for from their employees, understand how to communicate with them better, learn when there's burnout in the workplace, and try to address that in the proper fashion so that they can clearly communicate this with employees, and employees feel again that they're being heard. I think consistent feedback is very important, not just on the annual review. So, right, are you communicating with your employees on a daily or weekly basis? Are you setting up channels for them to give feedback and making them feel that they are welcome to give feedback? Or is it just they're learning about, what you think about them on their annual review, which again, that lack of communication causes stress in the workplace, which could lead to burnout and other things. Decision making, it's a good practice that when decisions are made, that employees are brought into those decisions, and so they understand why a decision was made and why they're doing the things that they're being asked to do. And maybe even when it's possible, allowing them to be part of that decision-making process. I think from a benefits standpoint, the employers we work with on an annual basis when we're reviewing benefit packages, we're always talking to them about educating the employees on why we're doing what we're doing, right? And that's just from the core benefit lens, let's call it. But why did we change the health insurance carrier? Why did we add a different dental plan? Why did we, what was the organization being faced with? What are they trying to accomplish with the changes they're making? And make it important that the employees know that they're doing this for two reasons. A, they want to reduce costs to the organization, but that cost has an impact on them. So you want your employees, when it comes to, and this is just one example, but when designing benefits package, you want them to feel like they have skin in the game, because long term, it does impact them. It does impact their payroll deductions. It impacts the plans that they're able to have access to for their families. So we make sure that we're always talking to employers about educating the employees exactly what went on and why the decisions were made and what the long-term strategy is, so that they feel good about their benefits going forward. And I think that's something that I would recommend for all aspects of the benefits. If you're offering a flexible or remote program for your employees, what's the long-term goal with that? What are you trying to accomplish with that, so that the employees really have a good feel on that? We already talked about surveying the employees. That's always I would assume if we have a group here that said that 100% of they're understanding 100% of their employees' needs, I would say you guys are probably doing a great job of this already, so keep it up. And education. Education is something that at Vanguard we have been very sold out to for many years. For many years we've been educating our employers, and we've been doing one-on-one education for the employees. So that's on their benefits, and the things that we see is that employers that don't do education on a regular basis with the employees and don't offer, especially now, if you're not offering the ability to have a one-on-one education either through your broker partner or a benefits expert in your firm, or an HR person who's an expert in benefits, there's probably something that's going to get missed that you can use as a tool or a resource for just improving on that culture in the workplace. For instance, we see all the time that there's benefits that don't even cost the employer money, like EAP programs, or gym reimbursements, or rewards programs that are being offered through partners that they're working with, and they're not communicating that to the employees. So then when we come in and we do the education meetings, they're articulating to us that we didn't know we had these benefits. That's a miss from an employer standpoint, because these are benefits that you're not even paying for, that you should be shining a light on more often so that they understand, because this is part of your offer. You're not paying additional for it, but you're paying for the benefit that's leading that to you. So there's plenty of good things that can come from the employees understanding these benefits. So education is critical, whether that be the meetings that general meetings that you host, which you can do more than just in your open enrollment time period. You can do them throughout the year, or it is one-on-one resources that you offer them for throughout the year. So let's talk about investing in well-being. We already talked about mental health and how important it is. Generally, $1 spent on wellness returns $3 to $6 in productivity. And so I think in the past, wellness was thought of as, by a lot of organizations, is, all right, if I invest in wellness, is it going to save me money on my health insurance, or is it going to save me money on my workers' comp? And it's evolved to so much more than that now. More employers are astute to the fact that wellness not only impacts those things, and for some organizations, it's even hard to find visible that it impacts your health insurance and your workers' comp, but it impacts productivity in the workplace. And wellness programs should touch on 3 different areas at least. They should be emotional well-being, there should be physical well-being, and financial well-being. All 3 of those are important components to a wellness program that could provide measurable results to your organization, either through productivity, less absenteeism, things of that nature, where you can put some metrics behind it. Or if you're large enough, or you're depending on geographically where your organization is, you may even see that wellness programs can drive down health insurance costs in a short-term period. So there's more reasons to do it than just health insurance, as I said. But if they touch on those 3 areas, you're probably in a position where that you can have a very robust wellness program that can make an impact on a lot of different areas. And from a physical health, it could be anything from gym reimbursements. We have partners that we work with that provide mobile apps that allow the employees to have access through guided to meditation programs, or to physical fitness that they can do even in the workplace. From an emotional standpoint, there's various apps and partners we work with that can provide mental health help in the workplace through stress mastery classes, or apps that give them meditation, or just check in with themselves on a daily basis to see where their stress levels are. So there's a lot of tools and resources behind that. And from a financial standpoint, there are various ways you can provide wellness education in the workplace, through financial wellness education in the workplace, either through your local banking partners or your financial advisors that can come in and give financial advice to your employees and help them, because obviously we know financial is a very, very big source of stress. And when there are financial issues, that can be very difficult and hard and weigh on the productivity of an employee. So focusing on that, having those resources available in the workplace is something very important. And as we said, mental health, I think we've spent some time on that already. Mental health is probably the most needed, especially coming out of the last 5 years we've been in. It has definitely shined a light even more on how important the need for mental health support is. If that's just one area you start to focus on, I think that will provide measurable results for you long term. All right, so we have another poll question we'll get to. And that one is, do you view your benefits package as a recruiting tool? Okay, interesting. All right, so the majority of the participants say they do view their benefits package as a recruiting tool. 33% say they do not. So I would say for the 33% that said no, that's something that you want to try to maybe look at in a different light. And what I mean by that is, I think that benefits at one time in my career, a lot of organizations, and not so much in the nonprofit sector. So let me start by saying that I think nonprofits are ahead of the curve when it comes to providing benefits and how important it is to their employees, because of the fact that they're competing on a salary for salaries with many other places. But in the past, I think employers viewed benefits as a necessary evil. I have to do this for my employee, maybe not legally, but I have to do this for my employee if I want to get any employees, but I really don't like doing it. And I think if there can be a culture shift there where employers are looking more at that benefit package as a necessary and vital tool to the success of their recruiting strategy and their productivity in the workplace, I think then that you start to get more creative with this, and it can only grow. So let's talk about technology and the role of technology in all this, and some of the tools and resources you can use to your advantage. When you're using technology, you're easing the administrative burden, and you're helping amplify the message that you're trying to get out. So technology and the tools that you can access that can be part of your benefit package are very important, and it can help you amplify that message that you're trying to get out through your benefits even more so. I think the days of utilizing paper for everything is cumbersome. And not only that, it's not the experience that most people are used to with everything else that they're in their world aside from their benefits. So everybody's looking for that Amazon-like experience, right? That ease of use, that be able to go on my mobile phone or my computer and make decisions quickly and easily. Benefit administration tools can go a long way. When I say that, benefit administration systems that provide access to employees through desktop and mobile apps to view their benefits. It integrates with their payroll, so they might be able to see, they will be able to see their pay stubs and have access to that payroll information in real time. They can use it for open enrollment to make their elections, their decision wizards that can be added into benefit administrations to help them with making decisions on the benefits they choose, and also can add access to key trusted advisors like benefit partners or benefit specialists in the workplace that can help them make their elections. So we still see that not all organizations are using technology, and I think it's something that you should consider. If you're not, when you're offering your benefit package, use that Ben admin system, use the integration components of the Ben admin system to your advantage. You can access these in many places, but sometimes you can access benefit administration systems at no cost. There are, through broker partners, you might have access to your benefit administration technology if you don't have it already, and by offering certain benefits at no cost to the organization, might be able to get the entire thing at no cost to you. So you would be able to provide technology for you and your employees at no cost. So something to look into. And again, not only are you helping the employees, making it easy for them to elect their benefits and understand their benefits, but you're making it easier on the HR team. It can help with onboarding automation, take the paper out of the onboarding onboarding process. It can help with compliance dashboards, things that can help you support from a compliance perspective, so that you understand what your requirements are, and then you're providing that to your employees, the necessary notifications and things of that nature that are important, and can also provide things like benefit guides, right? So, using these tools and resources to provide benefit guides that house the information about all their benefits in one spot electronically, and also provide marketing materials so that employees are aware of different components of the benefits, and also are getting notified in real time about open enrollment at the right times. Those can all be valuable tools and resources. Tom, any questions?
Well, there was one question which was asked earlier, and I don't know if we were going to get there, but I'll go into it now for you. Are there creative ways smaller nonprofits can stabilize insurance or benefit costs over time? I mean, I think that leads right into a big part of what we do in consulting with our clients and prospective clients in PEO, which is not exactly a household name yet or a household understanding, but I think more and more business professionals are learning about PEO if they don't know about it already. What a PEO model does is it gives a smaller company the opportunity to leverage the size and scope of being part of a larger group. Excuse me. And through that model, smaller companies are able to access a Fortune 500 caliber offering of benefits. They are able to leverage the reach of the PEO or professional employer organization as it relates to human resources, as it relates to workers' comp administration on their workers' comp insurance, and really truly become what we're talking about here, a Hall of Fame employer. You know, so when you partner up with the PEO, you get to look like a much larger organization. And we certainly see the opportunity, not that it happens every time, but we see the opportunity for companies and nonprofits alike to save money on their benefit strategies. I mean, we're working with a handful right now, and then also stabilize that cost over time, because you'll see in a lot of cases the PEOs have a single digit renewal on a lot of their benefits. Specifically, we're talking about health insurance, a lot of these cases, but the ancillary benefits as well. I figured that's where we would both want to go with that answer, but take it away, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, you said it very well. I would just say that if you are a small employer, and we define a small employer, if you're under 100 employees in New York, or if you're in New Jersey and you're under 50 employees, but particularly in New York, if you are under 100 employees and you haven't looked at a PEO, at least understood what they are and how they could benefit your organization, I think that's something that would be the first thing you should do, at least to get, how we help our clients evaluate PEO is we do the intake for them on the data that we need. We market it to the various PEOs, could be a dozen or more PEOs, and then we come back to our clients with an analysis that shows the ROI, which means how much are they going to save when it comes to medical insurance costs, offsetting any fees the PEOs charge, or any other areas that we were able to reduce costs. We're able to show them that. But then the other thing is, if you're looking at this from a pure cost perspective at first, I think the thing that you would find after the fact is a PEO is going to check the box on a lot of what we're talking about today from a benefit standpoint. They're going to help you be compliant. They're going to help you support your HR teams, and if you're small and you don't have a dedicated HR team, even more so. They can provide services that can become your HR policies and procedures, and have dedicated people that can support HR in your organization. So it gives you the ability to check a lot of the boxes on what we're talking about today. They provide technology and kind of integrate it with payroll and combine all the benefits you offer into one portal, and gives you the ability to offer benefits that you might not have done on your own if you're a small organization, whether that be on a pay-for basis or a voluntary basis that your employees are choosing. And don't discount the voluntary aspect. I know I mentioned it before, but there are plenty of employees that are, once they're educated, they appreciate voluntary benefits. Even though they're paying for them, they might be benefits that they can't get on the outside. So just to rehash about the PEO, I think that would be the one way we would recommend that at least you entertain it. If it's not right for you, at least but there is an opportunity where you can get significant savings on your benefits and increase the value and the different benefits that you provide. All right, so last thing we'll talk about is professional development, right? So um, thinking the way I look at this is looking at your employees as part of your farm system, right? So it's taking them from the onboarding through through their development within your organization, right? And so you're not just hiring, you're developing talent over years. And what goes into that? I think it's important to have training not just on the entry point, but ongoing training that employees have access to. Um, that some organizations we've seen don't do a real good job about this. They're training their employees constantly, ongoing throughout the year. Not saying that it's got to be something depend on what you do. Training might not be something that you have to do on a monthly basis, but understand what needs that your employees have, and based on the complexities of what you do, and have scheduled training for them to continue learning in the work environment. Encourage them to have certifications. If there's any certifications that you can provide to your employees, either internally or externally, that can support their knowledge in the workplace, that's always a good idea. Helping them see their career paths. So if you're going back to the communication slide we talked about before, if you're talking to employees and you're communicating with them on a regular basis and they're understanding where they can grow within your organization, we have nonprofits that we've worked with for many years that have the top leaders of the organization are people that once were entry level people within the organization, and they've grown with it. And we see that more and more where those career paths, people get. So when we're talking about, there was a question before about being sold out to the mission of the organization, the more direction that you're giving your employees and having them understand that they have a future in your organization, then I think it's easier for them to attach to your mission. And then recognition is a huge part of this as well. So I've seen some really creative things over the years, from monetary to non-monetary recognition, years of service. We saw one recently where an employer they had an annual event that was just for the employees, where they came to have recognition, but they also had a party for them where they were able to just loosen up and spend time bonding with their colleagues. But they also had monetary rewards associated, where it was based on years of tenure, but not only that, on absenteeism or in the workplace. So the people that were absent less than a certain amount of time got more raffles than others to win monetary rewards, which I thought was really creative. But you can come up with whatever works for you in your workplace. I think it's important to have a successful recognition program where people are feeling that you really value what the work you've done for them.
Yeah, Ed, you hit on a lot there. I just wonder if you could add anything, because I think this might, much of what you just went over would answer some of this. But so this is regarding a direct service nonprofit. So how can direct service nonprofits balance the need for in-person staff with the demand for workplace flexibility and remote options? Follows up with, we need ideas for compelling benefits we can offer. Now, you went through some of that with the certifications and the professional development, but is there anything you want to add to that, specifically as, like if it's people who have residential settings, these folks can't be remote workers in a lot of cases. And I know some organizations we work with, we saw that during the pandemic, where folks had to come to work, and that's the nature of the work they do. So do you have something you want to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we're very dialed into that space. So we have direct knowledge of what you're talking about. And yes, that's a very difficult scenario for an organization that works with DSPs. And it's hard for them to be remote or have flexible work schedules. So when you're in that environment, I think it's even more important to do the stuff that we're talking about on this page, which, you know, with the recognition programs and the career paths, that becomes very vital. But I also think the core benefits become extremely important. And, you know, adding to those core benefits with programs that can support their life. Like, you know, we have an organization that is a client of ours that is in that space. They have probably about 200 employees. And they have direct support workers that are a big part of their population. And we're always talking about different benefits that we can provide to make their package stronger. This year we rolled out a pet insurance program for employees. We rolled out a gym membership program that was designed for the employees to help them in the workplace. We are rolling out a functional nutrition program and helping them get healthier. So that is something that is going on. And, you know, another one that we work with does the exact same thing. They have their own wellness committee. And so they meet regularly to talk about how they can support employees. And what they do so well is the employees are all involved in the decision. So they have different teams that they set up, wellness committees, and they invite people on this wellness committee from the leadership of the organization to anybody that, you know, is an entry-level person, a DSP. Anybody in the staff can be part of this wellness committee, and they're constantly brainstorming ways to help the workforce with services that they need to get healthy mentally, physically, so that they can be more productive employees. So I think all of these things, you know, there's a lot of benefits that employers can provide to employees that don't cost a lot of money. And again, it's that go above and beyond to make the employees feel valued and that you understand their lifestyles. You know, local partnerships are really important to that, right? These are benefits that, you know, you might be able to work with a local mental health provider that would be willing to provide a discounted rate to see people in your organization. We have one client that has partnered with a local auto mechanic to provide, because they were, you know, for their DSP workers, they were noticing that they had older cars and they were having trouble with getting to work, and their cars breaking down and things like that. So they set up a partnership with a local auto mechanic to provide low to no cost maintenance of the vehicles, whether that be an oil change or just an overview and just a checkup of the car to make sure that it was, you know, in good working condition and prevent, you know, future issues. But creating local partnerships like that, making sure you're understanding the benefits that you provide right now and what other benefits might be hidden in them. Your health insurance in particular may have an EAP program. Does it have telehealth that's available to them? Do they have a rewards program? And are you letting the employees know about the rewards program? Products like short-term disability, life insurance, support financial wellness, right? So these are things that you can provide to the employees, and you could be a small employer and do this. You don't have to just be a large employer to provide these benefits. These are things that you can provide that would help support their lifestyle. And I think that they would be viewed as such, and that you are, you know, you're really invested in the culture of the organization, and it won't cost you anything to do. So I think you should look out for that and be as creative as possible. You know, if you want to talk to us about scheduling a Hall of Fame employer assessment, we have an assessment tool we use. We'd help you and review the results and then help you implement a plan. The other thing is we have 3 barcodes on the screen right now. Those are for our Hall of Fame employer application. So Vanguard Benefits started the Employer Hall of Fame in 2024, and we inducted 4 organizations into the Vanguard Benefits Hall of Fame. What we basically do is for the winners that are selected, we come out on site, we interview you, we interview the employees and your employees talking about your organization and why they love working there. And then we help you promote that on social media and on our website in our Vanguard Hall of Fame. So you can scan that if you'd like to apply for 2025. We have our HR health check that is here. And that is a series of questions that we provide a diagnostic report to you that shows you where you are from a perspective of HR and benefit policies. And then the last thing on the screen is our PEO fit test. So if you scan that, it's a series of questions that will help you determine if PEO might be a good fit for your organization.
I want to thank both of you so much for this information. I think it's super important that our nonprofits are listening to your wisdom here because we're wrapping it up and choosing policies for next year. And there is a feeling of, nerves and anxiety, as we all know. So thank you for easing that. I would encourage all of our nonprofits to go ahead and apply for that honor of the Hall of Fame employer. I have asked Tommy and Ed to please share those QR codes with me, and I can put them up on our social media links for you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Tommy, Ed, or myself, or Kelly at the Hub. We're always happy to connect you or answer any questions you may have. This is a pretty complicated subject, and it's different for every organization. So you may have more detailed questions that you want to run by them. So, but thank you both again. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks,
I just
everyone.
put the link for Nonprofit Resource Hub, folks. So if you're not already a nonprofit partner of ours, by all means, click that link. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.